The Terra Blade, we all know it. I bet you all cheated this in your world when you was a noob and used it in order to defeat the Wall of Flesh or the Destroyer. This is one of, if not the best melee weapon to ever exist, since you can acquire it right after Plantera and use it even after Moonlord. Now, the thing is, we've all seen Zenith Components only runs, right? Well, I haven't seen a single Terra Blade component only run, probably because the Zenith one implies this, but hey, I am Phantasm and I need to milk this kind of content even more. Yeah, I am back on vanilla and today I will present my adventure where I can only use Terra Blade components only. Will I be able to do it? Will I easily get to defeat Skeletron with true melee? Will the mechanical bosses annoy me? Will I be cocky and try to rush some parts of this game? How will I do without any quality of life mods? Am I still good at this game? Keep watching to find these out. Also, if you like this kind of content and want to support my work, you know what you have to do. Alright, let's start this adventure, shall we? Hello dear Terrarians, I hope you are all doing great. Welcome to another Can You Finish Terraria kind of run, this time on vanilla, bringing all the nostalgia back. This time I am going to play only with Terra Blade components only, so there are not a lot of options. In pre-Hardmode there are only 4 options, those all being components for the Night's Edge. First things first, I found a cave entrance, but before I could go down, I still wanted to check the surface, gather some more wood and explore the surroundings. While going for the left side, I was kinda surprised to see a pyramid with an exposed top, since those tend to generate underground. I almost got molested by that vulture, but I managed to block myself, so in a few seconds I was in the pyramid, getting no other than the sandstorm in a bottle, which is one of the best mobility accessories that you can get in pre-Hardmode. I continued to explore even more while running away from the same vulture from a few moments ago, and I stumbled upon a few giant trees. This was great news because, after all, it was just some more free loot for me to take. Another structure that was kinda exposed near this giant tree was a random desert cabin, and honestly I really wish that there will be Dumb Rider boots. I opened the chest and I got a magic conch, and honestly this was far better since I could get Hermes boots at any time later from the caves. Back home, I started working on something that I am 100% sure you miss seeing on this channel, the old good floating house above the trees, heavily inspired by no other than Ingishu. A bit later, I continued with the surface exploration, reaching the corruption biome and eventually venturing down in the corruption shaft, since I can find some demonite in here and gather it. Navigating around here was not really a problem, but staying alive kinda was, since the enemies kept on spawning and I still had no weapon. Seeing that there is no more demonite, I decided to call it a day and go back home. Well, it was finally the time to check the local cave. While I am in here, I want to look for as many life crystals as possible, chests, gems, ores and so on. The first upgrade that I was able to get was the amethyst hook, which is always welcome. Then I figured that the only way to defend myself would be by using the minecart bomb properties. Exploration continued and I found a chest which had Hermes boots in it, proving that I was right when I found the magic conch. Of course, mining the highest tier ore was also important since I wanted to get a new and faster pickaxe, which in this case it was the gold one. Then I found another chest and it had the shoe spikes, which are really useful this time since I will be using the upgrades in the far future. Moving on to mining even more ores, this time demonite, and be sure that I got more than enough so I could finally craft the first sword to be used in this run. The Light's Bane, a sword that spawns a slash projectile that goes through the blocks. I got more chests to loot, 5 crystals to smash, a lot of obsidian to mine since I will need it later for Hellstone, and I eventually reached the Otherworld but had nothing to do in here, so I recalled. This guy is absolutely useless, for fuck's sake. Yeah, some more expansion later, I could finally feel some nostalgia when looking at the screen and seeing this house that I really miss building. I really wanted to take my time with this one, there was no rush at all. Exploration continued with me getting some cactuses, then getting past the dungeon and noticing that it's pink. Then getting into a frozen cave hoping for more loot, which I eventually found, but at the cost of almost dying to every single trap in here since there were too many. There had to be a compromise considering the amount of life crystals found in this cave. In just one go, I got from 200 to 300 HP. Now, since I knew the dungeon color, that being pink, I knew where the shimmer would be. A pink dungeon on the right side means a shimmer right under the edge of the jungle on the left side. I slowly started making a elevator and, after a lot of explosions, I got to the shimmer and accidentally flooded the area, but that's not really a problem. For quick access, I also made some houses in here, and I also shimmered some items for permanent upgrades and also pumpkins from cactuses, since I could craft a brand new armor set that would provide 10% more damage. The exploration session continued in the skies, where I managed to find a shiny red balloon in the first chest, then skip the floating lake since there's nothing to see in here, then reach another chest and get a lucky horseshoe, that being the last item to look for at this moment. Progress was being made and I loved every moment of it. Now, it was the time to venture down the jungle cave for even more loot, starting really good with some feral claws from a jungle living tree, then reaching the temple roof, which was really useful actually because I know how like crystals spawn around here. Since they cannot spawn in the temple, they will look for tiles under the temple to spawn, so why not check below the temple? See, this is what I'm talking about, 3 life crystals in one shot. Moreover, I found a random jungle cabin which had a sharpening station, exactly what I wanted since I was playing melee. Everything was going so far so good until I started getting in random fights with all these enemies whose sole purpose is to hunt me down. You could probably tell that this was not going to be a flawless let's play, right? After going back and killing some more enemies, I managed to craft the Blade of Grass, which was the second sword to be acquired in this run and the better choice for the next few steps. Unfortunately, I had a bad reforge and no goblins, so I tried to do shimmer reforging, but that takes way too much time and it's so annoying. Progress was being made, with me being in the corruption and using a lot of dynamites in order to make a lot of space for the upcoming fight. I was not going to fight the Eater of Worlds on the surface, but rather fight it underground and use the blocks in my advantage. As I was making my way down a bit later, I also got another message telling me that I will shoot 2 birds with only 1 stone, and in this case the first bird would be the Eater of Worlds, which happens to be pretty weak against the Blade of Grass. Good thing that I don't have to spend ages on this fight or have to use another cheesing method such as the railway thingy used in other runs. As each segment was getting lower and lower, I could get him to chase me horizontally on a platform while hitting the head constantly, or I could just freestyle this fight and ignore getting damaged while swinging the swords chaotically all around. As long as my HP does not reach 0, I will eventually be fine. Oh, the second bird is in here! That was going to take a little longer, or at least that's what I thought. Fallen Star MVP! Well, I guess only some good mobility accessories were needed for this part of the fight. The projectile spawned by the Blade of Grass really helped during this fight, and so, after a few more swings, the Eye of Cthulhu has been defeated as well. I love how I got to grab the Megaluminescence at the same moment when the meteorite landed. Next up, making a elevator. This was not going to take just one click, it was going to take minutes, but it was worth it. Or was it? Goblin army upcoming and a lack of skin protection from lava made me think twice before starting to mine Hellstone. Yeah, I guess I'm doing the goblins first, killing the annoying archers, and after almost dying, finding a way to cheese the hell out of them since direct combat wasn't really optimal for this event. Hell yeah, look at them burn! It took a few minutes, but in the end there was only one winner, and that was definitely not the money stealer or the door breaker or the sniper archer. I drank a hunter potion and went to look for the stinkerer out there in the caves, easily finding him. Then, with an obsidian skin buff, I dived into the lava from the underworld and started mining pockets of Hellstone. Then I killed a voodoo demon. Then I also started making a bridge. New tools and an armor set have been acquired, but I still needed some more Hellstone for something essential. There it finally was, the Volcano, the third sword to be acquired in this run and the one to defeat Skeletron, since that's the next boss that I am going to take on. This is what happens when you go AFK for a few minutes, you get knocked around by a blue slime. Yeah, next up, Skeletron, and I was going for a true melee fight here, since you can see how much damage this sword does. The hands get destroyed almost immediately after starting this, but at the risk of taking a lot of deadly hits. Yeah, the best time to deal a lot of damage when Skeletron's head was spinning. I kept doing that over and over, and after a few swings, Skeletron has been killed as well, unlocking a new area of interest, that being the Hello Kitty dungeon. I opened the first chest and heck no, it wasn't a Muramasa somehow. Well, another chest got me with a shadow key, meaning shadow chest loot, meaning free loot and money. Then I also got a Muramasa. Conveniently, there was a demon altar in the dungeon, so I crafted the Night's Edge, a sword that got incredibly buffed and a sword that will be used for a long while. The adventure continues in the jungle, in a beehive, where I spawned the queen bee without making an arena. That was not needed at all. The Night's Edge was too powerful for this fight to require an arena. Yeah, queen bee defeated as well, and not only that, king slime also gets deleted and I managed to get the slimy saddle. Next up, an activity that I almost forgot it existed since I played too much modded with quality of life mods. Fishing for ebon kois and armored cavefish. As said before, shadow key means shadow chest loot, and that also means extra money, since I am selling everything in order to get money for the final reforges. There it was, the final part of this stage. Enjoy the wall of flesh fight. There we go, the wall of flesh has been defeated without any difficulties. Welcome to Hardmode, where the hollow biome spawned right next to my home base. I went to smash some demon altars and got the worst ores, but that wasn't really a problem and I'm going to tell you why. I needed the tier 1 ore strictly for the pickaxe, then the second one for the anvil and pickaxe. The third tier was the one to talk about and I needed a lot of adamantite for what I was about to make. You see, I am still playing with the Knight's Edge and the next sword is to be acquired after at least one mechanical boss has been defeated. How about I craft the adamantite armor set? But why? Wasn't I the one who always crafted the orichalcum set thinking that I was making a difference? Well, why not wait until I throw the adamantite in the shimmer? Also crafted the orichalcum set and you might be thinking, why two different armor sets? Well, the orichalcum armor set was strictly for the destroyer fight because of the set bonus, but for the other two mechs I needed a different armor set. I could turn adamantite into orichalcum anytime, but it's not reversible. That also implies defeating Twins and Prime before the destroyer with the Knight's Edge, and that ain't really happening. Now, what about surviving without quality of life mods? No buffs or treasure bags was okay, but the lack of money wasn't, especially in this world where reforges are random instead of going from the worst to the best. See what I'm talking about? The adventure continues in the underground, where I started to gather a lot of souls from the enemies as well as killing mimics for a specific accessory, which is not the cross necklace. To be more precise, the Titan glove was what I was looking for. I also got the Philosopher's Stone, so I crafted the Charm of Myths along with the Power Glove. I also got a few flasks of Curse Fire and then decided to sleep in order to skip some time. Then it happened. It started raining. Rain means blizzard and blizzard means ice golem spawning. I definitely wanted to kill these guys and get the frozen core since I could shimmer the adamantite armor set, get the bars and craft the frost armor set afterwards. Blizzard also means Deer Club spawning at the midnight and yeah, it was just a waste of time. He had nothing to give, so yeah, the grind continues with the second ice golem that almost killed me, then with the third and final one, which also dropped a nice feather. Yeah, the nostalgia was rising again, but I still missed something from the skies. Since that specific enemy wasn't showing up at all, I decided to call it a day and go for the destroyer instead, and I started the fight really bad if you ask me. I missed a lot of hits around the tail when he spawned because of gravity. The good part is that the Knight's Edge has a wider range, so it could easily deal with the destroyer and also the probes, but that did not make me immortal. I decided to get away from the floating island since the conditions were not really optimal. I really loved the fact that I could hit multiple segments at once and the damage wasn't that bad either. I could also use the heals in my advantage so the destroyer itself couldn't spam all the lasers towards me. Well, as long as I wasn't getting hit by the head of the destroyer, I was fine, so a few swings later the destroyer has been defeated. However, I was not done yet. I still came back here since I wanted the wyvern to spawn and a bit later it was killed. Finally, I could switch to the Frost Armor and Wings loadout and also craft the Excalibur, which was a really good upgrade considering that I have been using a pre-Hardmode sword for the past few hours. The next task was to improve the navigation around the world and pylons was not enough. I made a railway that goes all the way to the desert behind the dungeon. Then I fucked the Queen Slipe hoping that I will get the gelatinous pillion and unfortunately I did not get it. Moving on, it was the time for the Prime Minister, Skeletron Prime, and honestly, this was not going to be bad at all, since I was debating if this or the Destroyer should have been the first boss. The same as Skeletron, the arms are going down first, the laser being the first limb to be taken down since it's the most annoying one, then the Vice since it moves way too much, then the Saw so he cannot really get to hit me while I'm trying to stay close to the head in order to deal a lot of damage, and finally the head along with the aimless cannon. I was cocky and just summoned the twins straight after and trust me, I was about to regret this. Yeah, I could deal a lot of damage when they would charge, but then there's phase 2 and this is where the things took a wrong turn for me despite trying my best to dodge. I really hope that I could pull this off one way or another, even using the nerds, but to no avail since they outsmarted me and eventually killed me. Well, another day starting, so it was me doing side quests again, this time killing the Wall of Flesh for more emblems, then Hellbats for the Magma Stone, then failing against the Queen Slime while trying to get the mount. Yeah, this was pretty frustrating, especially for someone who gets easily annoyed by the smallest inconvenience. Having anger issues was something that I knew, but having little to no patience, anger issues and a huge need to rush everything was the worst combination. I started fighting the twins again, but this time I decided to play a bit more safe, being aggressive only when they charge at me. This strategy proved to work pretty damn well, with me easily reaching the second phase and doing some incredible maneuvers in order to not get hit. Playing passive aggressive was the key here and just like that Spasmatism has been killed. At first I tried the grapple platform block swap strategy for Retinazer, then I was like, why not use Mother Nature in my advantage? So I did. I used the floating lake in my advantage in order to take down Retinazer as well. Just like that, all the mechanical bosses have been defeated, putting an end to a stage that I know it would have been the hardest. Honestly, it wasn't that bad at all. I had way worse experience before. It was the time to get some upgrades such as the Avenger emblem, then another one for the mechanical glove, which will be turned into a fire gauntlet. What I could also upgrade was the Knight's Edge, turning it into the true Knight's Edge, which is the main component for the sword that I want to acquire in this run. Next up, a lot of mining in the jungle, looking for life roots, chlorophyte, and also an IB chest with an anklet of the wine, since I haven't upgraded the Spectre boots since day 1. With some chlorophyte I was able to upgrade the Excalibur, turning it into the true Excalibur, and this is one personal favorite. After all of those, I must have been tired. Yeah, maybe not. This was the perfect opportunity to go to the jungle and hunt down as many turtles as possible so I could craft the turtle armor set as well. Then I continued looking for some extra life fruits, but I had zero success. Next up was a task that would have taken a single click on a regular modded run of mine, but now I have to do all the digging in here for the Plantera arena. I also had to bring back the emergency shaft, even though you will see that I will not get to use it at all. Well, I guess this was enough, right? Enough to reconsider all my life decisions. Speaking of decisions, I fought the Queen Slime a few more times in order to get the gelatinous pillion and I also get the armor set, and I was like, why not use it and get to wear another accessory instead of the Shield of Cthulhu, since the set bonus gives one free dash. Well, said and done, so it was the time for the real Plantera fight, hoping that I will not get to fail again. I don't even know if this is a popular opinion or not, but the old True Knight's Edge was far better than this. It's that specific delay which destroys everything. On the other hand, the True Excalibur is just more than amazing to use. You can see how well it does against both single targets and groups of enemies, keeping away the thorn tentacles from me and eventually killing Plantera. Now, wanna be a little cocky? How about I go totally unprepared in the jungle temple and try to face Golem? Yeah, some results are just predictable since the first seconds. Let's get serious about this, and by serious I don't mean getting killed by an almost killed Mothron, I don't mean that either. I mean actually finding strategies in order to survive and get some brand new items from specific enemies. I mean not getting angry when the Mothron spawns right as the moon rises. I mean actually getting the broken hero sword and crafting the Terra Blade with it, the sword that is the core of this challenge run. I know the title says Terra Blade Components only, and I know that might imply not actually using the Terra Blade since it's not a Terra Blade component, but I make the rules in here, so yeah, I will use it. Now, let's get to finish this run. Step 1. Go into the dungeon and start mining. Step 2. Start to swing the sword back and forth, casting Terra Beams or whatever those things are and kill enemies. Step 3. Actually have the patience for bone leaves to spawn and drop both the Tabi and the Black Belt. Step 4. Leave after getting everything that you wish for. Hell yeah, now this loadout is something that I really miss seeing. Now, I was really ready for Golem, no more getting cocky, no more bullshit, no more rushing and more focusing because that's important. Yeah, he was so going down this time. The damage was really high, the defense was way higher, the dashing and dodging have been improved, there was simply no way this guy was going to kill me. I killed Golem and he dropped a Stinger. I killed Golem and he dropped a Fist. I killed Golem and he dropped an Arcahalis and a Fist. How many fists does this guy have? This adventure is getting closer and closer to an end, but you know what I haven't done at all? There was a specific boss that I was really enthusiastic about defeating early on in the old good days. You might know that guy as Duke Fishron, and it's so cool because not only it drops some of the best weapons, but it also drops a nice mount and wings. I cannot believe that this is how we actually have to fight Fishron. At this stage, with such loadouts, Phase 3 didn't even feel like Phase 3, it was too short, but who cares, this is not really a run where Fishron is a key boss. Unfortunately, I wasn't really lucky to get the Fishron wings from the first bag. I tried one more time and still no wings. What I really hated about this being a full vanilla run was the fact that I never had infinite buffs. I always had to do extra fishing, look for plants, ores, and so on. I also continued looking for more life roots, getting up to 490 HP after a long expedition. There was no way I would leave that number like that. No matter how much it would take, I am still going to look for 2 more life roots, and after a few minutes, there it was. Maximum HP from vanilla. Yeah, that was it. It was the time to finish this once and for all. Let's start with the Cultist fight, which I know it will be easy because of one specific trick that I know about. How about I stay as close to the Cultist as possible, dealing both true melee and projectile damage at the same time? This is a strategy that also comes with huge risks such as almost dying as you can see, but it's really nice to try out. You see, he's just a few swings away. Done. The vortex pillar is in here. I guess I will use the one block gap hole strategy. Well, doesn't really work for this specific weapon, so I guess we're doing this the way it's supposed to be done. Oh yeah, the nebula pillar, my favorite one when playing modded and the one which I definitely destroyed flawlessly without getting a single hit by those stupid monsters that should die in real life for fuck's sake. At least the Stardust pillar got to calm me down a bit since I could lure one cell, destroy it, let it regen and so on. Now, please notice how I have been playing with the Flask of Venom so far. Now, allow me to introduce to you the Flask of Nanits, which gets enemies confused. It might sound stupid, but this is actually incredibly useful, especially for the Solar Pillar enemies, since they get to run away rather than attacking. Unfortunately, it's not working with every enemy, but it makes this process far more easier. As the Solar Pillar was going down, I knew this run was almost over. I still had to defeat one boss, Moonlord. Enjoy! Yeah, did you really think that I was going to pull this off? Several things were missing from this video since I wanted to bring all the nostalgia. Plenty of Duke killings were missing. How could I finish this without defeating Duke Fishron? Every OG subscriber knows that this is the only way. Actually, I'm joking, I just want to get those wings for nostalgia. 5 Fishron kills was pretty nice, but I still didn't have the assurance that I will get the wings this time since it's a 1 in 10 chance. It happened to me to be a 1 in 20 or even more, so yeah. I opened the bags and look at that. That was perfect. I could continue with the next nostalgia side quest. Definitely not this one. Yeah, the game has to throw all the trash to you when you start to succeed. Alright, the second nostalgia side quest was related to defeating another boss since movement was the key to winning the Moonlord fight. The Empress of Light is a boss that can fix the movement issue forever. Enjoy this entire fight. The Empress wings from the first bag, that must be some really nice RNG, not gonna lie, but that's not what I wanted. The soaring insignia was the specific item that would help me with the movement. Let's reforge it and get ready for the finale. This is the true Moonlord fight. I am not going to commentate. Enjoy! shaking, I knew that finishing Terraria only with Terra Blade Components was possible, and honestly it was kind of expected since I have done way worse runs in the past and had success. But yeah, Moonlord defeated, yet another fun vanilla run completed. By the time of editing this, I have already started working on the next run, and trust me, it will take a while since I am building a big army on vanilla. You will see what I'm talking about soon. That was kinda it. I had a lot of fun with this run despite all the anger issues during the twins fight. It was not hard, and I really recommend this to anyone who wants to limit themselves to subclasses. If you enjoyed this so far, don't forget to like and subscribe, become a member if you want to support my work even more, leave comments with suggestions on what runs you want to see, and stay tuned for more videos. Until next time, see ya, peace, bye bye.